Yo, what is going on, ladies and gents? It's your boy Lampzy back again with another video, and today, since we're just beyond the halfway point of the English Premier League season, I thought I would do an IMO video on what I believe that the team of the season should look like as it stands right now. Now obviously these kind of videos can spark up a lot of debate due to people analysing player performances and games a lot differently, so please let me know in the comment section below if I have missed someone who you think deserves to be in there, or if I've put someone completely outrageous in there. But nonetheless guys, let's just jump straight into it. Now guys, starting off in goals we have Alisson. Now this one's a little bit tricky for me to pick because a lot of keepers have been consistent throughout the season so far, but I've chosen Alisson due to the fact that, you know, he's kept 13 clean sheets this season. Liverpool have looked really good, and defensively they're probably the best in the league. But to be fair guys, obviously like I said, 13 clean sheets is a really solid effort. He's going to be pushing probably towards 20 by the end of the season. He roughly came into the league for $80 million US, which is crazy. Was the world's most expensive goalkeeper for a while, and he came through with a lot of expectation and a lot of pressure, but he's done really well to start off in the Premier League. Life isn't easy in the Prem. To be fair, Lloris has been good, De Gea's been really average, Kepa's been good, even though he hasn't had a lot of shots on goal. Matty Ryan's been good, and also Edison's been good. I did choose between Edison and Alisson. I just picked Alisson because of the clean sheets, and you know, Edison with Manchester City having a drought where they let through a goal for like 6 or 7 weeks, but that's who I picked in goal. Now guys, moving over to the two pairing centre backs, we've got Virgil van Dijk and Aymeric Laporte. Now we'll start off with Laporte because I feel like he doesn't get enough recognition, and I believe that's due to the fact that he doesn't play in the French national team, because obviously there's Raphael Varane and Samuel Umtiti. Now we all know that they're probably up there with the best centre backs in the world, definitely Raphael Varane, and obviously it's a World Cup winning squad, so why would Deschamps like to change that around? So I feel like that's the reason why he doesn't get enough recognition. But to be fair guys, Laporte has been phenomenal since moving into the Premier League last January, so he's been an absolute gladiator at the back. Now I want to mention to you guys that he's had 0 errors on goal so far this season, now which means he hasn't made a mistake leading towards goal, or he hasn't you know scored any own goals or anything like that. So 0 mistakes basically overall through the whole campaign this season, which is phenomenal. He's come up with a goal, and he's also kept 9 clean sheets, so he's been one of their great leaders now. And I feel like Manchester City are going to need to lean on someone soon, because David Silva and Vincent Kompany are both aging really fast, and they're going to need a shoulder to lean on, and I feel like Laporte would be really good for the future. Now guys, moving over to Virgil van Dijk. Now what can I say that it hasn't basically been said before? He is probably the world's best defender right now, up there with Sergio Ramos and Raphael Varane. I would put him at the number 1 spot. I feel like he's the reason why Liverpool are playing really well. He's just an absolute beast of a player. He's so good on the ball, he's so strong, he's so quick, believe it or not, as well, and he just barely makes any mistakes. And the one thing that I really want to mention to you guys is that in every single competition, which includes the Premier League, the English League Cup, the FA Cup and the Champions League, not one player has been able to dribble past him, which is phenomenal, because he's come up against some absolute talent, and it just really shows that Virgil has been at the best form of his career, and he's only going to get better because he hasn't even reached his prime of his career. So if he can stay fit and healthy and stay injury free, he's going to be phenomenal. I don't think anyone can argue that Virgil van Dijk is the best centre back, and especially in the Premier League right now. Now guys, moving over to the wide backs now. Obviously over the right hand side we've got Antonio Rudiger. Now I know he's not a technical right back, but I just couldn't pick a traditional right back to play this spot. I know a lot of the team of the seasons actually don't have a right back if there isn't a standout right back, but I believe Antonio Rudiger should be in the starting 11. Now hear me out here guys. Now obviously Chelsea have had a really shaky start to the season. Obviously their form is really dipping at the moment, but I feel that when Chelsea are on form, they are really hard to break down. Now Rudiger has been the solid man in defence for Chelsea, and obviously he had a bit of a shakes last season, but this year he has got everything right. He hasn't made any mistakes throughout the whole season as well, and to be fair guys, he's just the man that Chelsea have to lean on, because I know David Luiz can be a little bit shaky. A lot of people will actually argue that David Luiz probably should be in over Rudiger, but I feel like all the mistakes that David Luiz led towards goals, I feel like you just can't put him in over Rudiger, because Rudiger hasn't made those mistakes, and Rudiger has scored a goal this season. I know it's not all about goals, but Chelsea really rely on Rudiger playing well, and I feel like that is the reason why he should be in the starting 11. Now guys, moving over to the left back spot. Now we've got Andy Robertson, who's got 5 assists and has created 8 big chances throughout the Premier League season so far. Now he's been, no shadow of a doubt, the best left back in the Premier League so far. Benjamin Mendy had a great start of the season, but to be fair guys, he can't stay on the pitch because he's always injured. And Andy Robertson is just showing that he just continues to grow, and his attacking presence and his defensive efforts are just basically going unrewarded. He is easily the best left back in the Premier League right now, and he's just continuing to grow, and I can see him becoming one of the best left backs in the Premier League next to players like Ashley Cole and Patrice Evra. So Liverpool fans, I can't say anything bad about Andy Robertson. He's the captain of Scotland, and you guys would probably be even more happier that he signed a new contract. So to be fair, guys, Andy Robertson easily the best left back in the Premier League. Now guys, moving over to the midfielders now, we're going to start off with N'Golo Kante. Now this one's probably going to spark a little bit of debate, and these are the reasons why I think N'Golo Kante should be in there. Now obviously he is playing as a right centre mid this season under Maurizio Sarri, and obviously we all know him as probably the world's best CDM. Now obviously he's not playing in that position, but Jorginho is playing that more central role, and it's not really a CDM role, it's more of a maestro role. So to be fair, guys, we can't switch Kante with Jorginho to begin with. Now I want to mention to you guys that the only difference that Kante is playing in this season is that he's playing a more advanced role for Maurizio Sarri. Now obviously he scored a couple more goals than what he normally would. We don't really see Kante scoring many goals, or if that fact, shooting. But his shooting is getting a lot better, and he really did show in the French second division as well that he can do it. So, but to be fair, guys, he's actually recovered the ball 154 times already this season. So it's not like N'Golo Kante isn't doing what N'Golo Kante does. He's still the workhorse, that we all know him to be. He's just playing a lot more attacking wise, but he's still dropping back more than what he normally would do anyway. So to be fair, guys, he's working probably more harder than what he normally does, and that's why I feel like N'Golo Kante should be given a little bit more credit so far this season. I know at the start it was a little bit shaky and we didn't know what was going on, but who does when a new manager comes through? So N'Golo Kante definitely takes the cake for one of the central midfielders in my team of the season. Now guys, moving over to the second central midfielder, which is David Silva. Now he's obviously been one of the key members of Manchester City for such a long time, and he's just continuing his form right through the season. Now obviously he's scored 6 goals and 2 assists so far this season. Now basically everything that Manchester City do has basically been running through him at the moment, and just look at the way that Manchester City have been playing. Now I know they've got a title defence on at the moment, and I know they're not sitting at the top, but they're not far off it. But you look at the way that Manchester City have been playing this season. They've been such an entertaining team to watch, and they've just been netting goal after goal after goal. And what I meant how everything runs through him is just that not only that he does help out with assists and goals, but he plays maybe like the 1-2 to someone else who lobs it over. So those stats don't really get credited for. So David Silva is always one of those players that always gets a ball or two over, which doesn't get the assist or the goal. But guys, David Silva is just continuing his form, and I can't wait to see what he's got for the rest of the season as well. Now guys, moving over to the third midfielder here, which is Bernardo Silva. Now he's on next level stuff right now, and I believe he's definitely the best Premier League midfielder so far this season. Now I think he deserves a lot more credit than what he's been getting, because the fact that KDB went down injured so early on in the season in such a demanding league, and which he went from a winger to a central midfielder, is absolutely outstanding. Now like I said, it's such a demanding league, and you don't have any time to rest. So the way that he's adapted to his new position so far this season has been phenomenal, and his contribution so far with 5 goals and 6 assists really does prove of what a top quality player he is. So he's just continuing to get better, and I can't wait to just see him just thrive to be one of the best midfielders and wingers in the game right now. Now guys, moving over to the left and right wings here, we've got Eden Hazard and Raheem Sterling. So we'll start off with Raheem Sterling, because I believe he doesn't get enough recognition as he deserves, because the English media absolutely dog him so much, because whether he buys a new house, or if he gets a new tattoo, or if he misses a shot, or if he runs strange, or if he does something just so different, or if whatever he's wearing, it's so wrong. Like, I don't understand why he gets this mean and disgusting criticism, because like half the time it's not even about his game, it's really more of his personal choices. And I'm an Australian, and from looking from the outside in, I just don't understand why the English press dog their own homegrown talent. And Raheem Sterling is an absolute baller. He's He's been a baller for such a long time since he was at Liverpool. He's got 9 goals and 7 assists so far this season. I know he's dropped off a little bit of form recently, but he was in hot form earlier on in the season, especially when Manchester City were battering teams, left, right and centre, and Sterling is going to be a strong part to the way that, them going forward as well. It's just not fair in the way that he gets treated, and I really believe he definitely deserves more accolades, and I really hope the English media decide to, pipe him up a bit and, give him more credit as he deserves. Now, moving over to the left-hand side, we've got Eden Hazard. Now, I believe he's probably the Premier League's best, winger, and if not, probably the Premier League's best player. Now, I know it's been a little bit difficult for Chelsea so far this season. I know Chelsea are relying on him too much, and I believe if Chelsea do rely on him too much, we get in trouble, and yeah, we basically lose games when Hazard doesn't show up, because everyone's human, everyone doesn't have a great game, he doesn't score a hat-trick every game, but Eden Hazard has scored 10 goals and 10 assists so far this season in a new system. He was injured quite early on in the season, especially with the fact that he played for Belgium in the World Cup, coming off a great campaign, and he came off the bench quite a lot, and because he was injured and he just didn't get enough rest. But he's been playing a false 9 as of late as well, because Chelsea have striker issues and it's not his natural position. So the way that he's adapted so far this season due to injury and due to the whole position change and the whole new structure change, it's not going to be a good thing overnight. Sarri's way of playing the game is going to be a long process, I believe. I think it's going to take until the end of the season. I really hope Eden Hazard does stay at Chelsea, and I really think he'll go on and score 20 goals this season and hopefully get 15 assists throughout. So Eden Hazard, it's no shadow of a doubt, he's definitely in there for me. Now guys, moving over to the final role as striker, and we've got Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang in there. I know it's going to raise a lot of debate, especially to the people who go for Spurs, because they probably think Harry Kane should be in there, and people who go for Liverpool probably believe that Salah should be in there as well. Now, I just believe that Aubameyang is having a better season than both of them. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has scored 14 goals and has got 3 assists so far this season, and has been phenomenal in the way that Arsenal have been playing, especially with Emery coming in charge as well. So a whole new system, but he's really set the Premier League alight ever since coming into the league. And I know a lot of people think he's just a pace merchant who's in the right spots at the right times, but he's got to be there. His awareness is great, and he hasn't scored tap-ins. He's scored a lot of difficult goals so far this season, so I believe Aubameyang deserves a lot more credit. I know he probably does get a lot of credit at the same time, but guys, give him a break. If you hate him, you're just jealous, because as an outsider, being a Chelsea supporter, I would love a striker like Aubameyang, and he is just basically what everyone wants as a striker right now. Now guys, before I do wrap up today's video, I want to give some honourable mentions to some of these players. We can so call them the bench. So obviously we've got Ben Chilwell, and we've got Wan-Bissaka in there. We've got Paul Pogba, we've got Torreira, we've got Harry Kane and Mohamed Salah. So obviously it's going to spark a lot of debate as well, but I believe 2 players in each position there. I think those guys are really the standout. I know Pogba's probably going to spark a lot of controversy, but he started off really well, and the Jose Mourinho era is now over, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is absolutely getting the best out of the World Cup winner, and I think Paul Pogba is just thriving under him, and he is just showing what he is worth. But nonetheless guys, that is the team that I've wrapped up for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know if I've missed anyone out, or if I've made some outrageous selections. But nonetheless guys, please give it a like, please do subscribe, and I shall see you guys on the next video. Peace out.